Well, what's up, y'all? I'm Dusty. This is Foxholler Homestead. I gotta say, sometimes I really gotta kick myself. Now, granted, I didn't grow up in a generation of electronics. It wasn't a thing. I think like the electronics that I had as a kid was the Atari. Loved playing War, loved playing Outlaw and Pong, all those things. And eventually, at some point in time, Nintendo came along. And I never had one, but my buddy had one, my buddy Tim, and I would run over to his house and we'd play Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt. Now, with that being said, I've got this phone, along with a computer, like a laptop. I really don't know what it is. I definitely don't know how to use it, and I barely know how to use my phone. Now, again, I've made quite a few videos, and you guys don't know, but I've actually lost a lot of footage. Well, I did a build this last weekend, which I filmed. I thought I filmed, and go figure, I didn't. I thought I pushed that little button. It's right there. I pushed it, but I didn't make sure that it was recording. So I didn't get to film any of the build. But I still want to show you guys what I did build. Now, those of you guys that are familiar with the Fox Den up on Fox Holler, the Fox Den was the very first little cabin that was up here. Now, originally I'd brought the shell up here, and we totally did multiple videos inside about building the inside and all the reclaimed material, like using pallets and old fence boards and a lot of different things. Now, it currently holds a lot of my grandpa's old logging equipment, old logging tools. It's got a wood-burning fireplace, absolutely no electricity, completely off-grid. And I love this little cabin. This is I love this little cabin more than anything. And again, it's called the Fox Den. Well, this is my #1 retreat, to say the least. And during this last weekend, like I said, I did do a little build, and I wish that I would have filmed that, but I used a lot of reclaimed wood. Also, the vertical posts were things that I had milled from cedar logs, and I got to do a couple different things, really cool things. A lot of the firewood that I had was stacked up on the side of the cabin, and it was really kind of bugging me because it was all discombobulated and disorganized and what have you. I do have a lot of wood from work, the 6x6s that are untreated that I burn, and it's pine, really cool. But I also have logs. So I wanted to organize that, and I also wanted to have an area that I could work out. But enough of me talking right now. Let's check it out. This is the floor, ground. Here we go. 1, 2, and da-da-da. I gotta say, it's the perfect man cabin. Now, obviously, got the scooters on the side. Got my body weight machine. But this is the overhang that I built. Now, I got all the 4x4s from work. That's all the vertical beams, or I'm sorry, vertical beams underneath. And all the plywood is, I don't remember what kind of plywood this is, but they use it for decking. When they are putting on a new deck right before they pour concrete over top of it. So it's got kind of a shiny material. It's more shiny underneath here, but virtually weather resistant. Now, I did just go up and plug up all the holes because a lot of them did have nail marks, nail holes, what have you. The reason why, because again, this was used, it was stuff that they'd used one time, and a lot of contractors will use it one time and then toss it. And I have a giant stack of it. I was collecting it because I can always use stuff like this. So these beams are off of trucks when they bring in rebar loads. It's a lot of the dunnage that they use, the 4x4s. These vertical beams are the ones that I milled out of cedar, which is pretty cool. Found a use for those. 1, 2, and 3. This chair, Safeways usually have these, during the summertime, they have displays inside the stores, and you can buy these things. Well, I asked them about this display at the end of last year, wintertime, and they said they were going to be tossing it. So I was like, man, I will take it. It's literally brand new. So got to hang that up. Obviously, heavy bag, but here we go. I am so excited about this. Got all my weights. Now, I don't have a ton of money in weights, literally probably maybe 40 bucks between all of it. A lot of the stuff I go to Value Village and places like that to go find these older weights, the plastic ones, but you know, weights are weights. It doesn't matter. I don't need the best of the best of the best. The kettlebell I bought a long time ago, and my weight vest. But super excited about that. Stacking wood, obviously a little bit of OCD, but super sturdy with the 4x6s, two 4x6s on both sides. Underneath, 4x6s on both sides. Comes all the way. And then there's the porch swing, Grandpa's porch swing. Yep, it's my little cabin. But I just think that it's awesome. I am so happy with how it turned out. And I really wish that I could have showed you guys the build, because I had a lot of fun doing it. And I'm really happy how it turned out. Like I said, I did caulk the top of it, a bunch of different holes. And Home Depot, I think the 5 gallons, or not 5 gallons, there's a 1 gallon paint, exterior paint, and it's kind of what they call the mess up paint. And they stick it off. It's only $9 a gallon because they messed up the color. So I'll paint the outside or the top with that. But yeah, really turned out pretty awesome, right? Kind of a cool thing. I got my little Bluetooth speaker that I come out. Now granted, this doesn't have electricity, the cabin, so I have a little generator. It's right here. And I charge that in my truck. That's how I charge my phone. And my Bluetooth speaker and lights. There's another light over here. Show you guys the really cool lights that I have. And I leave them out predominantly during the daytime. Got lights down here that are solar there. But this thing, it's actually a bubble. You blow it up, it completely collapses, but it's solar. And let me see, yeah. There you go. It goes brighter. Then it blinks. You can use an emergency as well. Dang it. There you go. Anyway, so that's pretty much that. I'm really, like I said, uber excited that I have my little area now. And that means I don't have to work out in the rain, which is pretty awesome. And got my targets over here for practicing archery. I think that I might be going out, and if I do, I will definitely make a video, but I think I'm going out elk hunting with one of my buddies the beginning of next month out to Eastern Washington, and that's going to be muzzleloader, which is going to be super awesome. But hopefully I can get something, because we got a big old giant freezer and everything. As we all know, the recession we are going through is affecting each and every one of us that are not on the uber rich spectrum and not in the best of ways. A lot of people out there are suffering, and so this is my chance to be able to provide an excessive amount of meat at the very least, at least 200 pounds of meat, of red, lean, amazingly good natural meat for my family. So, but before I go, let's go check the traps real fast. That bear hasn't been around in a while. So during the summertime, the bear was actually coming up here quite a lot. Now there's 2 different areas that he was coming from. One was up here, and then the other one was over there. Now I sat in my tree stand. You can't really see it. It's you see right there. It's a climbing tree stand, and I'd go way up there, and I'd wait for him, and he never came. Go figure. But as soon as I climbed down, 20 minutes later, he'd show up. But So I have these trip lines. It's a 12 gauge primer trip line. What the heck? It looks like he set it off. So how this works is you pull this out, and it's kind of hard to do with one hand, but this piece comes out. You could put a little primer, 12 gauge primer in here, put it back in. You pull this out, and then you can put a pin that goes all the way over to here. Where is it? There it is. See that pin? This pin goes right in here, stops it. So whenever the bear comes, walks through there, sets this trap off, big old bang, flash comes out of these holes and scares him away. And again, I don't want to hurt the guy. He's been on the property, and his family's been on the property well before us. So again, it's how we can coexist together, which is the most important. Now, granted, if he came down to the RV or came close to the kids or the dogs, what have you, that would be a different scenario. But for the most part, I've seen him walk along this trail right here. But for the most part, he stays up here. The RV is way down there. And then the cabin is over there. But here's our swing. It's been a while since I've been on this thing. All the water's dried up. Just amazing. So that's another thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about. Now, in the last video, which I did those reviews, I don't even know why I do those things. I mean, on the occasion, we might get something cool and do a review about it. But for the most part, at the end of that video, I talked a little bit about the permit. Now, where we are with this permit, now granted, it's almost 2 years later. We are $35,000 into a permit to be able to cut our own trees down, build a driveway, and clear the build site. But I do see a light at the end of the tunnel. Now, what had occurred recently was, I think that I'd mentioned that my engineers had actually reached out to the county themselves, and I don't know why they didn't do that 2 years ago, but they didn't. And they spoke to the county themselves, period, that whoever's reviewing it, and got his exact expectations. And then they went back to the office and did their thing. And when I got all the paperwork back after, revising and doing everything it is that they needed, a lot of the big issue that what they see is we have a creek. We have that creek, the little bridge that goes across the creek. We have that creek that goes through the property, and the county is requesting, they're demanding that we put a very specific kind of culvert through that creek so the creek can flow through it, and it's called a box culvert. If you've never heard of it, they're precast concrete. They come in sections, and you can what you do is you grade the bottom of the creek, set down gravel, set them on top, and it allows for, in comparison to a round or a pipe culvert, it allows for a more even natural flow, and it's also more sturdy in the long run as far as building driveways over top, etc. Anyway, that's what they want. So our engineers actually redid all that and sent us the paperwork. Now, we submitted about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. Haven't heard anything yet, but I am keeping my fingers crossed and doing my prayers, and I do believe this is going to happen. My arm's getting tired. I do believe that this is going to happen, and this is going to be huge, because then after, when you cut trees down like that, what happens is once we get our permit, we have to hire a forester. The forester comes in, he marks all the trees along the path that we've agreed, all along the future driveway, and then where the build site is. And then what he does is he measures the trees, markets the trees, and then goes and finds the sawmill that will accept the trees that are that size, because not all sawmills are going to be able to take trees that big. Some of these trees they're enormous, and we don't want to take them down, but when it comes down to it, we have to do what we have to do. And we still have 8 full acres that we're not clearing. And so after that is done, then we will contact a couple different logging companies. The logging companies will come over and they'll give a bid. Now, we have the option to pull the highest bid, but there's a couple requirements that go along with that. One of the things is that the county requires that where the road is being, or the existing road from that point and the new road excuse me, has to be covered with a very specific kind of rock, like quarry spall first, obviously, is your base, then 5/16 clean, not any minus in there, but 5/16 clean over top, and it has to be, I think, 4 to 6 inches, what have you, and we agreed on a 10-foot wide road. The logging company, what they would do is they'll give us a bid with the road, installing that, not just cutting down the trees and cutting the road, but installing the rock itself. But they'll also give us a bid without all the rock, because they make more money, or whatever. We make less if they install all the rock, because we have to pay for the rock, etc. That'll come out of our part. But I think it's a pretty, for the most part, pretty self-explanatory when it comes down to it. Obviously, I don't want to take care of having to log and then having to contract another company to come in and spread rock for me. I'd just rather have it done all at one time. So that's going to be a huge help. I do have another project coming up very soon, probably within the end of this month, beginning of next month. I recently purchased a RV carport, and from a company called Versatube. We're not getting sponsored by them, but we do. I have heard lots and lots of positive reviews about Versatube, and so I bought one of their units because, as we all know, living out in the woods, especially in a scenario like this where we're homesteading, this is something that we've never done from scratch before. You learn, and you learn the most during the winter time. Last winter was crazy. In Washington, it rains a lot, and in the area that we are right on the snow line, so it snows a lot. So RV roofs, RVs in general, are not made to be out in the elements, like living in the elements full time. So this is going to be a huge investment to help preserve our living area. So that'll be kind of cool. We'll set that all up. It is 20 feet wide by 42 and a half feet long, so it's big. But we got a couple different cool things, and I just wanted to reach out to you guys and show you what's going on, tell you a little bit. And I'm really sorry about not being able to show you the build on the cabin on the Fox Den, but it did turn out awesome, and I'm very excited about it. But I am going to end this for now. I got nothing but love. You hear that? It's that little chipmunk. All these little guys are collecting nuts, and all the bluebirds we put a lot of peanuts and seed out there for them, so they're collecting them before the wintertime. Wintertime's coming. But yeah, I got nothing but love and blessings for all y'all out there. Nothing but prayers. I hope each and every one of you and all your families are doing amazing. And until next time, I'm Dusty. This is Fox Holler Homestead. There it is. It's just beautiful. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.